So whenever we've done this first thing before, right, and this is why so many people fail in life in all areas, and I want you to get to grips with this straight away because I don't want you to fail. The biggest thing that I want, there are eight, well, there were 82, there's now 81. There's 81 people here, and I want 81 results, 81 life transformations, 81 happier, healthier, wealthier people just on the UB90. And that is what I'm committed to in the next 90 days. Now, even we can flip it here. Imagine being just one or two people and having 81 people that you need to try and get a result with and look after. You know, that can be overwhelming at times. That can be stressful. That can trigger the hell out of me, just like it might you. When all of a sudden, 20 people are bearing in and questions and all this kind of thing. But again, that's normal. And I'm going to go back to what I said at the start. Overwhelm is the emotion of growth. So if you're starting in anything and it's not stressful, you've got no anxiety, you understand everything straight away, and it's easy, I guarantee you it's not going to be something that's going to make you grow. It's not something that's going to test you. It's not something that's going to lead to results. So when you're experiencing these emotions, just sit with them at the beginning. And going back to what I said, you know, remember the first time you took one of these out of a box. Remember the first time you started trying to use Facebook or TikTok or set up an Instagram account or even emails, right? Like we didn't understand it straight away. So don't fall into the trap of thinking you need to sign up and you need to understand absolutely everything in day one. And if you don't, you're a technophobe, you're not good enough, you're never going to get it, you've wasted your money, it's not for me, and all these experiences that we go through. Because, you know, like I said, these videos are on 4 times a week. The Facebook group is there 24/7 for questions and support. The support's there. You just need to ask the questions, but you also need to be realistic that there's many things that we need to go through, right? Nutrition isn't an exact science. Like it isn't you have to do all of the things and that's the only way you're going to get a result plan. You know, most people just having an awareness of food to beginning with and starting to use MyFitnessPal and starting to do things like putting 100 grams of cheese in and realizing, holy mother of Jesus, I had no idea there was that many calories in that. Or, you know, scanning your bag of squashies or Haribo Star Mix or whatever else, or McDonald's because you had a weak moment, and just starting to get an awareness of, holy crap, there's like 1,500 calories in that. You know, and understanding and getting this knowledge, these are the things that are going to really start to move you forwards in the beginning. And they will be enough to move you forwards in the beginning because small changes over time are what going to add up to big wins. Not having to get perfectionism is one of the lowest levels of fears. And it's also one of the reasons why so many people, because they're basically saying every single thing has to be perfect. Every single part of nutrition has to be understood. I have to do all of these things all on my own, all at once, and everything be perfect. And if not, I'm not going to get a result. So what's the point? I'll just quit. That's the reality of where a lot of people live. When, you know, if by the end of week 1, you've been for 4 30-minute walks, or if you're doing the challenge, which we set, if you go this, you'll see this in video 1, guys, but we also set everyone the challenge of a minimum of 31 days movement, cardio, cross trainer, walking, running, swimming, mountain biking, another word beginning with S that I won't mention, but I did say it in the other video because children are watching. Any form of activity that raises your heart rate for 31 minutes per day for the next 31 days, dependent on when you started, as well as going sober for those 31 days, will progress 99.5% of people. Once you start to get to grips with nutrition and macros and calories and picking your own foods in week 1, 2, 3, that's going to add up and it's going to get even better. Then when you start to get to grips with the training programs and, you know, again, also remember what we set is a guide, right? So, and this is something that I'm massive on, and I say it with, I say it to clients all the time, and very often in this kind of scene of training, right? Like, again, drop me a yes either on Facebook or drop me the word fat actually on Facebook or Zoom if fat loss is your main goal. Just type the word fat, okay? I'm going to put forward that again, that's probably 95% of people. So nothing will, and this was a very funny thing that I heard here. I saw some like wannabe bodybuilder, bikini model type coach person who's, you know, the ones that send the same plan to every single person because they think every female is a bikini model and every man needs to be a bodybuilder and live eating chicken and rice out of Tupperwares and, you know, eating tuna on the floor of the labor suite whilst their wife's giving birth because, you know, we can't not get our protein in on that day. That type of obsessive mentality, you know, these plans are all sent out, and we want you guys to have a training plan and understand home workouts and circuits and eventually, you know, the muscle building stuff and the resistance training. But initially, weeks, even in the first 90 days, right? And this post that I saw on Facebook said it basically was attacking a personal trainer who was basically personal training a client, and he was just with the client on a treadmill. And then he was with the client on a cross trainer, and then he was with the client on a cycle. And I think he said something about, I can't believe personal trainers got paid for that. At least Dick Turpin wore a mask. Well, one might agree with that, but this is where people have fallen into the trap of, oh, I'm a coach. I need to send a really complicated 7-part bodybuilding split and all these different reps and tempos and reps overcomplicated because that shows my knowledge, right? That shows how valuable I am. When this person gets this plan and it's got 7 different days and all these millions of exercises and, you know, do a lateral raise, standing on one leg, balanced on a Swiss ball, and all the other stuff that you see people doing in the gyms, which is idiotic because they've just copied some influencer doing it. I'm going to tell you now the one exercise that's going to burn most fat: running. Bar none. Absolutely bar none. If you want to drop body fat as quick as possible and you have a limited time, spend that running. I wouldn't even bother about the training plans on PT Hub. And again, be careful about falling into a trap. Again, if you can't run because of any knee problems, cross trainer, swimming, mountain biking, walking, hiking, whatever raises your heart rate to the highest level possible for the longest period. Now, again, I see this in gyms all over the UK. Person goes in, this is a typical person who doesn't get results. They've got this 5-day resistance training plan from their online coach. And, you know, this person is 5 or 6 stone overweight, and they go around all the machines and they do 4 sets of 12 on the shoulder press, flicking on their phone between sets. And then, oh, they're not really sure about that. Oh, I can't use that machine because someone else is on that. Oh, I'll just wait around for a bit. Like I view this in the gym every day. And then they go on to the next machine and they do their 4 sets of 12. They leave the gym like thinking mentally, and it's not their fault. They don't understand. They're following the plan that they've been set. But they're thinking mentally, well, I've been to the gym for an hour. Like, and they've probably done 150 to 200 calories, if that. If your time is limited, get in and do what makes you sweat. Do what gets your heart rate up. Do what gets you out of breath. And that will be cardio work. So again, if you're looking at the training programs and you're thinking, I don't really understand that, that's a bit complicated, it's going to make me feel overwhelmed. This is the downside of online coaching. I'm going to go into the gym, and even though this video is on the app, I don't really know what I'm doing. Just do what works for you and get your heart rate up, and don't overcomplicate it. Okay. And again, in terms of food, okay, don't spend hours trying to get the percentages and the grams perfect. Food and nutrition is not an exact science. Scales can be up to 25% out. MyFitnessPal is less than accurate at times. The cooking process changes food. Okay. So, you know, again, we're looking at just awareness, and remember that calories are always king. And if we're 30 or 40 grams of protein out and we're 30 or 40 grams of carbs out, and fat's a bit under one day, but it's over the next, but generally we're under our calories and we're within 20%, that is going to be, again, more than good enough for the first 4 weeks. All we're looking to do is set metrics. Okay. That is going to be more than enough for, again, 99% of people get results. What I don't want you to do is that there's been horror stories in the past of a lady got in touch and she'd been on one day on MyFitnessPal for about 6 hours, literally trying. Her protein level was 157 grams, so she wanted it to be 157 grams. Her protein was 60, so she wanted it to be 60. Her carbs were one, you know, and spending hours. It doesn't need to be that precise. Think how many variables there are in the day. Some days you're going to move more, some days you're going to move less. You know, the overall start is get all your food tracked. We'll know what's in. We'll start to get a handle on what food you like, what food you don't like, what's working. You might have to go back. What I will also drop the important links in of the MyFitnessPal training video and the My PT Hub training video into the new starters group as well. If you watch both of them, if you're stuck with either of those apps, I literally go through it step by step, and it's screen recording on my phone. So I'm on my phone here and I shared it to the screen so you can see exactly what I'm doing. But again, you know, you might have to watch the MyFitnessPal training video 3, 4, 5 times, but eventually you will just become an expert at it very, very easily because of the fact you're going to use it every single day. You know, do something for 20 minutes a day and you will become an expert at it very, very quickly. It's the same with tracking food. So I think that is it from me. But like I said, you know, just please, please, please all just breathe at the beginning. You know, we've got 90 days. And one of the things, you know, I've got ADHD, so trust me, I get it. Like we want all of the things all at once. We want to get them all right. And we want everything to go as fast as possible. And then we get this massive anxiety if like it's not going well. But like 90 days is a long time, okay? And just remember, just be kind to yourself. Don't try to understand everything. Each and every day, if you're doing the best that you can do with the time that you've got, and when you get stuck, you're asking for help on the Q&A post in the Facebook group. That's all you can do. You can't do any more, but don't become frustrated because you don't understand absolutely everything and you're not a perfectionist at once. So without further ado, I'm going to open up on Zoom and Facebook. In fact, let's just do Zoom first. Okay. So any questions on Zoom, you can either raise your hand virtually on Zoom if you know how to do that, and I will unmic you and you can ask me in person, or you can pop your question into the chat box on Facebook or Zoom, and I will answer them. But as well, remember, guys, you guys will notice you won't see them in the WhatsApp group, but that everyone is in the Facebook group as well. So you've also got another 80 plus clients that have been with us for anywhere between 6 months and 6 years that are also there within that group to support you. So you know, you get involved. Everyone here, there's 160 people in total around you to support, love, share wins and help you. So please don't anyone, like I will never ever, like on that Q&A post, myself, Nat, Luke, Gordon, everyone will answer questions, support you and help you all day long. The only thing I will get frustrated with is if people are struggling and they don't ask questions, because that's just dumbass. But I get it because I've done it. It's what we want to do very often, isn't it? Where I did it with a coach. This is a real true story. I'd gone into a really bad period in my life when I was with Paul Moore, and bear in mind I was in his Elite X mentorship program, which is £1,000 per month to be under him. And he kept asking me every 2 weeks. He obviously knew that something was wrong. Bro, are you all right? Do you need help? Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. And I literally said I was fine for nearly 12 weeks until I was literally on the verge of a complete mental breakdown until I went, yes, please, sir, can I have some help? And we got the problem solved within 3 days. So please don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. We all want to do that. We might have messed up on our diet. We've not been doing the work. We've gone off the radar for 5 or 6 days. And rather than having that alarm bell saying, right, guys, I need some help. Okay. That's what we're here for. What we do is we're like we're the most mature 12-year-olds in the world. Now, I'm not going to ask for help because that's embarrassing. I'm going to run in my bedroom, put my hands over my eyes, and I'm going to see how long I can stay here before someone else calls me out. So please do ask for help if you need it. So, Alan, can you chuck some stretches on my plan, please? The right ITB is getting pretty tight. Yes, again, so that just put that on the Q&A post, buddy, in the group and tag myself and Nat. Anything like that, any questions, pop them there. They can't be deleted. We're both tagged. We check them twice a day, so anything can get actioned. So anything like that is no problem at all. Come on, guys, we must have some questions. Right, I'm going to pick on someone. No, I won't do that. It's a bit cruel, isn't it? How do? Lee McManus. Lee McManus, do you have any questions? Caroline Jeffrey, do you have any questions? Tracy Noble. Emma Darhill. Loza D. Loza D, that's what your name comes out as. That's a bit hip. Loza D. I'm gonna unmute Loza D. Loza D, how you doing?
Hello. All right, you.
Yes, not bad at all. So, in fact, this will be a good one for you because Lorraine's been a client before. Um, what were your results before? Crazy.
Epic. Yes, amazing. I've just hit a rough patch and let myself go with drinking and stuff and put on the whole 4 or 5 stone again. Woo, well done me. So back at it.
So, having lost that 5 stone, you'd put it back on.
Took me 2 years, but yeah, I've had a good go at it.
But how quickly
Well,
did it come off last time when you just got the
oh,
basics right?
but, yeah, 3 months and oh, done. I've not run since I was 16 at school, and now we're doing 10K running everything. It was amazing, but I haven't run in over a year, so that's definitely on my massive hit list this time to get back on with that.
Definitely. In regards to running as well, guys, it might kind of freak a lot of people out because the knees will hurt. And I hear this a lot. People will be like, oh, Lee, I'm going to run, but my knees hurt, my knees are killing. And essentially they will hurt because it is putting impact through that joint. Now, I'm never going to advise someone to do something that hurts, but also have a little bit of awareness behind like something that's just a little bit of pain, like maybe a 3 out of 10, and we're out of breath and the heart rate's increasing, and something where you're like, oh my God, this is actually causing damage. And if you are struggling, this is what people don't realize. I even do this on the ultra marathons, right? I don't run the whole time. I might hit 25 minutes in periods and then I walk for 5 minutes. I might hit periods when I run for 60 minutes and then walk for 10 minutes. So if you're at the very beginning, start with a walk and then try jogging for 30 seconds. If we can do that with no pain, then do walk for 30 seconds, jog for 30 seconds, and then we use whatever variables you can. We might then try and jog for a minute, walk for a minute, jog for 2 minutes, walk for a minute. But don't go too hard too soon, because that's another massive thing. Drop me a yes if you've done this, because I've done it so many times in my life, mostly before I was a coach. So we get in this place like this, we're like, right, that's it. I'm motivated. I'm going back to the gym. I'm going to smash it. You know, we're really happy about something. We go in and we literally like paste that first session into the middle of next week, and then literally cannot train for a week because every ligament, every tendon, every muscle, and everything else is just in absolute agony. And on that note as well, because I've been asked this before, there's a big thing in the kind of gym scene at the minute online that, you know, if you can walk up the stairs, then if you can't walk up the stairs after legs day, then you didn't train legs properly. And you know, there were these memes, aren't they, of like Rocky and Arnie when they've got all the blood and the tape over them. Pain is not a sign of progression, guys. If your legs are that bad after training legs that you can't walk up the stairs, or that you're walking down the street like John Wayne, then you've pushed too hard. Pull back on the next session. Okay. We should feel like we've had a good session. If we've trained upper body, we should slightly feel the shoulders, the back, the chest, legs, we should feel the quads and the glutes. But if we're in agony, and I mean agony, that means we've caused trauma. Okay. And too much trauma is the body just saying, listen, Stephen, that's not okay. Don't do that again. So pull back 75%. And always remember, guys, what we're working here. Yes, I didn't even mention this, keep forgetting that some of you might not even know. There's £1,000 prize for the best transformation, by the way, guys. So if that's not motivation for some people to do the work, then I don't know what is, because for me, that's a life-changing amount of money. It's your holiday, isn't it? Or whatever. So certainly if you're motivated by that, that would be a strong motivator. But again, whilst there is a prize and we are wanting people to push it, again, I also want you to be able to do everything that you learn, everything that you implement forever. Okay, I don't want this to be another 90-day shred when essentially you do what Lorraine did or many others, when we push this hard and then it gets to 90 days and everything was that over restrictive and that was that disruptive that it's not maintainable. And you see this all the time. You see these transformations on Facebook, you know, when the coaches put the client straight on 0 carbohydrates, 150 grams of protein and 60 grams of fat, and, you know, tell them to train for 2 hours a day. And you see the latest 8-week shred or 6-week shred, and it's like, yeah, this guy's lost a load of weight, but he looks like an empty sack of potatoes and like he's about to throw himself off a bridge because he's that miserable. So, you know, we want this to be long-term lifestyle changes that you can continue forever. So we want to push hard, but not that hard that it's something that we can't continue. Diana, your nutrition plan and everyone's nutrition plan. I did go through this in the first welcome video, which I'll repost. All nutrition plans are under files on PT Hub, and there is a hyperlink to the MyFitnessPal training video within that file, and I'll repost all that in the Facebook group later on. The training programs are under programs. Each person does have a program as a schedule because some people like that. But as I said, you don't have to stick to that exactly. All the workouts are also individually under the workout section, so you can pick and choose from them dependent on your schedule. But likewise, if you kind of know what you're doing with training and you're confident that, you know, you're doing the cardio or you're doing your own weights plan, that's totally fine as well. It's not this authoritarian, you know, really do as I say. Everything is a guide. And then each week, photos, measurements, and everything are updated in PT Hub. In your section, there's an update measurements and update progress photo section. And then there's a full check-in for each client on week 4 and week 8, when we will assess everything, look at where you're at, look at your food, look at your pictures, look at your measurements, and make any decisions if needed. But again, this is a big thing that we don't do in terms of assessing that weekly. Some coaches do. For me, it's the most counterintuitive thing in the world. And it's certainly not because we're lazy, but it's like starting a business and then checking your bank account every 7 days, sorry, or starting anything. It's too short a period. No coach in the world, unless something was going drastically wrong, no coach or anyone should be making a decision after 7 days. It's not even anywhere near enough data to make a decision. 4 weeks is the absolute minimum when we'll stick to the block, then we'll assess what's happened. So again, a big thing before I answer the rest of these questions, the big thing that I want you guys to understand is, I've said this many times, and we all experience this, right? When you go to work for a week and you work a week, you expect to get paid at the end of it, don't you? And this is what these plans like Weight Watchers and Slimming Worlds have all convinced people. Right, I go to the gym for a week and then just because I've been, I get paid every Sunday. Now you don't, because it doesn't happen that quickly. Sometimes exercise can take 2 or 3 weeks to kick in. And I was explaining this to Jess yesterday, that it's when we get momentum of good week, good week, good week, good week, that's when all of a sudden the slip-ups don't matter. But what happens so often is because people expect it to be like a cash-in-hand job and they expect to get paid at the end of the week, they have a really good week and everything is perfect. Food was more than good enough. Training was good enough. And then because they've created this, remember, all anger, frustration, and resentment comes from unmet expectation. So we have this expectation of what the scale should say because we've worked for a week. And when they don't say what we want, the toys go out of the pram. People have, like some of the messages I've had, I am absolutely devastated. Why? What's happened? Oh, you stepped on the scales on Sunday and they hadn't moved after you'd worked for 7 days. That is the emotions that millions of people experience. And that's why they don't, you know, progress. And it's a very real emotion because they haven't understood it. Now, that 7 days probably won't even have registered or kicked in. So then when you think, when we do another 7 good days, that again might not register to have kicked in. By the time you've done 21 days, the first 7 days might then have kicked in. Can you see how then we're on a momentum loop where once we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 great weeks in the back that are all going to register consecutively further down the line, even if we have one not so good week, it's not really going to matter because it's going to be 7 versus 1. Whereas when we go good week, bad week, good week, bad week, good week, bad week, oh, I've been doing it for a month and I've not progressed. But it's because we didn't have the consistency and the momentum. So just be patient. But again, if you are anytime in the Facebook group, if there's stuff you're unsure of, stuff that's on your mind, stuff that you're worrying, just post it on that Q&A post and someone will help you. We're here 100% to support everyone. Question, I'm gonna have to try and the questions disappear on Facebook, I think. Bear with me. Yeah, 100% Lee, stick to that plan. We're doing a few, I'll post these up in the group. We're doing a few runs as a team as well. We're actually doing a team ultra marathon in March, end of March. If anyone wants to jump in on it. Sophie, do you do running plans? I don't as part of this, but I do if you wanted to discuss the upper level Unbreakable plan when I use training peaks and everything scheduled, but that's not available on this, unfortunately. But if you want to drop me a message about that, I'm more than happy to discuss it. But again, if that's what you want and you don't want to do that, there's hundreds that are all really, really good on the internet, especially on the big running magazines and their websites and stuff. So again, very often, guys, this might sound like a cop-out, but don't forget that Google is your friend. Like when someone might say, oh God, can anyone help me out with some high protein lunch ideas? You know, just before you ask that question, you know, if you put into Google high protein lunch ideas, there's hundreds, absolutely hundreds. And if you guys also go into guide 5 or 6, I think it is, there's 30 of my recipe books that you can download and keep for free forever. In each of those recipe books, there's 30 recipes. That's 900 recipes. Every single one of them is calorie and macro calculated to perfection. And they're already on MyFitnessPal and they have barcodes. So again, there's turkey chilies, there's slow cooked beef curries, there's smoked salmon avocado on toast, there's a full smoothie guide. There's hundreds. So again, you can just pick from them, make it, cook it. Things like peanut butter and jam overnight oats, there's black forest oats, there's puddings, there's all sorts. Like I literally went to town, I spent like 2 years on them. And also within that same Google document, in fact, I'll put it in the important links in the WhatsApp group afterwards as well. There's also 54 eating out guides. So there's Nando's, Domino's, Costa Coffee, Harvester, Jamie's Italian, Odeon Cinema, Yo Sushi, everywhere. And all of the meals at all of those restaurants are in these guides. And they have all the calories and the macros for them. So what I want you guys to understand is you might be thinking, why has he done an eating out guide for Five Guys? Well, sometimes we're all going to eat at Five Guys, right? And what I want you to understand is no food is inherently bad. It just has a value. Likewise, I'm not promoting, and if it fits your macros, go and live on Five Guys every day, Emma, because as long as you're within your calories, you'll be fine. You won't. Your body will be like a human dustbin. But again, this is an example. Let's say you were on 2,000 calories per day, right? So we can add that up. I don't need a calculator for that, do I? 14,000 calories per week. I will need a calculator for this one. So let's say we're going to have a Domino's with a family on Saturday and we go for the big meat feast, big whammy that's 2,000 calories. So 14,000 calories minus 2,000, because we're going to put the Domino's in first. That leaves us with 12,000 calories for the week. So we can divide that back by 7. This week, we need to stick to 1,714 around on the other days because we're going to enjoy the pizza guilt-free. See how that makes complete sense over 7 days? Don't have to not have the pizza. You just have to understand it's got like a value. Like if you go in your bank account now and take 200 quid out of the savings, if you want your savings to be equal by the end of the week, you need to pay it back in. Or you can go and burn off 2,000 more calories in 4 60-minute runs, probably. I would probably recommend the first option, although the second option would be really good for your fitness. But nothing you do can't be undone. And this is, again, a mindset I want you to get out of. Drop me a yes if you've done this. Sack the week off because you messed up on Monday. I'll start again next week. Oh, weekend went tits up. Oh, what's the point? I've ruined it all now. It's all done. I can't do it. Well, what did you actually do? Well, you overspent by 700 calories on Saturday. Nobody died. That isn't even going to turn to fat within 7 to 10 days. So you've got 7 to 10 days to correct your mistakes and get back on it. One bad meal doesn't ruin a week. One bad day doesn't ruin a week. Sacking off a week because you had one bad day will certainly ruin your week. So just be mindful of that as well. There's nothing that doesn't need to be done. Diana, the marathon stuff, I'll message you about it as well. Have I Alan's going to post about the stretches. Guys, any more questions? I'm struggling to see some of the ones on Facebook because they're disappearing. If there's any on Facebook that I've not answered, I'll answer them in text afterwards. But yeah, like Danny's just said, she loves the turkey chili. So I will actually go for that. So for instance, in recipe book 1, right? Yes, link in PT Hub. You can link MyFitnessPal to PT Hub and it shows the calories up. Likewise, you don't have to. Sometimes there's device issues with that. So both are good. Suzanne, how do I log classes on the app? You can't, but if you've done there's a running joke about this as well. If you've done the classes, cool, don't worry about it. It doesn't need to be on the app in order for you to know it's done. You know it's done, and that's all you need to know. What's crazy sometimes, right? I've known people have a meltdown because they went for a run and they didn't take their watch. Like in their head, because it wasn't tracked on the watch, it's literally like it hasn't been done. Like huge levels of anxiety and stress because they went out and they trained for 60 minutes or they went on a hike and they didn't take the watch. Now they don't know what the steps was. It's like the work's done. It's in the bank. You've done it. Don't stress about it. Just quickly with a guide to nutrition as well, because Danielle's just said actually. So for instance, this is a really good way to do stuff if you want to make it easy for yourself. I'm not a massive fan of batch cooking because I'm a single guy on my own, so there's not really much point. The freezer would be full very quickly. But for families, it's incredible. So, and I always encourage people to eat as a family. Like one of the biggest reasons why people will fail is because they segregate themselves from friends and family. And then they start to feel kind of resentful about it. Like, I can't really go to that because I don't know what to eat. And this is why I'm against rigid set plans. Like every single restaurant has like steak, sweet potato fries, something like bruschetta to start with. It's easily tracked and you can stay within your calories, just work backwards. But what I was going to say was with that turkey chili, for instance, that's in recipe book 1. There's three absolute bangers in recipe book 1 if you just want to start with one book so you don't get overwhelmed. One is the slow cooked spicy beef curry. One is the quick fish curry, which takes 15 minutes. And the second one is the turkey chili. Now, each of those is 6 servings. So basically you cook it all you need to do is follow the instructions, weigh out the meat, the fish, whatever. You don't have to put them all individually on MyFitnessPal. Then you either scan the barcode or you put ACA, which stands for Advanced Coaching Academy, in front of the recipe name, and it will come straight up on MyFitnessPal. All 900 of those recipes are on there. Now, if you cook it, it's 6 servings. So let's say you were a family of 3. The one person could have 2 servings. You might have 2 kids that want to share a serving, and you might have another person that has 1 serving. So that's 4 servings of that gone. There's still 2 servings left that could be frozen, or you could have that turkey chili the following day with the McCain baked potato for lunch. So you can make it work for you. Or you might say, right, we're going to have the slow cooked spicy beef curry on the Monday. We're going to have the turkey chili on the Tuesday. We're going to have the quick fish curry on the Wednesday. And then we're just going to freeze the other portion. So all of a sudden, you've then got this backlog of pre-cooked meals that are already calorie and macro calculated in the freezer. So when the shit hits the fan and the kids are off school and you've not been to the shop and, everything's kind of gone crazy as it does, you've got something to fall back on. But it's also a great way for you to just, I always remember Hannah, one of my clients, Hannah McLaughlan, she lost about 7 stone, but they were massive with their parties, you know, the kind of people that have huge social circles, and every week there's a party at someone's house and it's always themed and they put loads of effort in and decorate the room. So anyway, I think they'd done like a tapas party, and she literally took like 17 recipes, I think, from all the recipe books, cooked all these different things, put them all out, so nobody in the entire party would have had any idea what she was doing, yet she still knew exactly what she'd had from the meal and kind of tracked it. So, you know, it allows you to be, there's so many, you know, there's healthy English breakfast in there. There's like smoked salmon and avocado on toast. There's hundreds. So be as creative or as non-creative as you want. And if simplistic is the vibe that you want and you're super busy, which I'm guessing most people are, this is how I very simply do my food, especially when I'm busy. So number one is I very rarely cook meat. I buy my meat in packets, pre-cooked and ready-made. Once you add it all up, it's not much different in terms of price. Now, this is how I can do a full day in 15 minutes or less. So I could go into the kitchen now. I could sear my steak off on both sides and stick it in the oven with some sweet potato wedges or a McCain baked potato and a steam fresh medley of veg, you know, the ones that come in the bags that you go in the microwave. Whilst that's cooking, I can put 3 wholemeal wraps or pittas out on the side. This is what I used to do when I had the club. In the first one, I'm going to put pre-cooked beef and horseradish and salad. In the second one, I'm going to put pre-cooked chicken, mayonnaise and sweet corn. And in the third one, I'm going to put pre-cooked turkey breast, salad and cranberry sauce. I'm going to wrap all 3 of those wraps up, and I've done that before I even need to take my steak and my sweet potatoes out of the oven. Before I take them out, I'm going to put 60 grams of oats in a bowl. I'm going to whip in my whey protein powder. And in the morning, all I need to do is add my frozen blueberries on top and then put my lactose-free milk, hot or cold, on top of it. Off I go to work with my 3 wraps, a couple of pieces of fruit and a protein bar. And then I just repeat the process. So it can be done really, really quickly. Just don't overcomplicate it. But again, do what works for you. If you love creative cooking, use the recipe books. If you're really bland and you just want quick and easy, do that what works for you. What's in the nutrition plans and the guides, that's just ideas. Okay. The number one most important thing is that you focus on eating what you love as much as possible within the calories and macros, and that works for you, your life, as a family. This is why I coach the way I do, and this is why I won't change it. Like, it is actually less time and less stress if we just created each person a set nutrition plan. Takes Nat and I both about 2 minutes to do a set day on MyFitnessPal, but your life is not a set day. Like, what happens when the kids are off school? What happens when it's their birthday? What happens when the shops are shut? What happens at Christmas? What happens on holiday? What happens in all these situations? And trust me on this one thing, there's one thing you take away from this process. Once you get used to tracking your food and understanding what's in it, you will realize that for the rest of your life, you can keep the physique you want, eating foods that you love, as long as you're not being silly, within reason, and just stay on track 365 days a year, never needing another coach, another Weight Watchers, another slimming plan, another pill, supplement, or whatever else is going to be shown to you as the answer, because you have the knowledge. You know how many calories you're eating when you're gaining weight. You know how many calories when you're losing weight, and you know your maintenance. And that's when you will start to feel so in control of your life and your food, and understand. This is why people say, Lee, how'd you go to it? How on earth did you tour Ibiza and come back like that? Because I just track as I go. Might be like, oh my God, like I literally went 4,000 calories over yesterday. All right, I'm going to taper that back across the next 7 days. And I'm just going to do a bit of extra cardio. So again, back to that, what we said, you know, nothing's fatal. And when it clicks and you get to use this, you'll be like, oh my God, I get it. I understand it, but it might be a little bit painful at the start getting to grips with it and using the apps. But once you do, it is literally life changing. Right. I talk a lot, don't I? Any more questions? Anyone want to speak on mic? Tomorrow's mindset session is going to be live. I am going to start posting these on a Sunday, so you know the week ahead. Tomorrow's is going to be live at 1 p.m. As I said, I will post all the backlog of the previous ones. But yeah, that's it, guys. We're here. Like, I'm excited, and I want you guys to be excited at all. I know some of you have experienced a lot of stress, but you know, just please don't. It's a transformative process. 90 days is a long time, and you've got myself, Nat, Luke, Gordon, everyone, as well as the rest of the team here to support you 110%. So let's get after it. Let's put the work in, and let's be massively celebrating the reward as a team at the end of the 90 days. I'll see you all tomorrow.